like. But for each question that you pick, please send me 300 words as an essay, an answer to the question. And the questions, you can see, for example, for test 1. Now here's the interesting thing, at least to me, and that is, I grade you based on your word count. So if you send me 300 or more words for each of the questions you pick, I give you an A. I do a word check, 900 words, A for you, and then I read them. So it's the word count that gets you the A. You think that's crazy? Is that lazy? It's easy for me, right? Because I just go word count, 930 word, A for you. And then I can send you responses to what you said. Have you ever had a situation like that where you're just the word count?
How it felt in high school, but
Yeah. And it gets worse, though, by the way, because the term paper is 3,000 words. I don't know if you've written 3,000 words yet. But here's the thing. You can say what you want to say. You don't have to have the right answer. In fact, for a lot of these questions, I'm not sure what a right answer would be. So it's your point of view. So you can't be wrong if what I'm asking is, what's your point of view? And I'm not going to say, that's not your point of view. Can't be, right? You're the one that knows that. So I use a word count. So it's not like you can even get these questions wrong unless you just not answer them all the way. At least 300 words, right? And email them to me. Good to email me before the test is due as well. I won't actually downgrade you if it's late, as long as I get everything before the end of the semester, but it really is a pain in the butt to get all these, at the very last week or something. So please send them as we're going. That's good. I understand what happens when, your family has a tragedy of some sort, and you have to leave in the middle of the semester to go help or whatever. I had all these things. As far as deaths are concerned, I've had a few students die after the course was over. Fortunately, I don't think I've ever had any students die during the course, or at least they never emailed me if they did. One of the students died on DeBar and Northern Lights. Family still puts flowers on the corner there every once in a while. Logic student, very smart, very smart. However, so things happen to people, I know, and I want to encourage you to keep coming. And I know our weather gets bad, and you can have problems, especially attending and so on. Plus, if you get sick, please don't come. I am, believe it or not, I hope, I'm recording this. I'll post it so that if you miss a class, you can go on YouTube after I post them and watch them. Should be fun, yes? Actually, they're terrible. Because notice I just turned the camera on and left it there, and I'm not even standing in front of it. So if you're trying to, find the best YouTubes there are on the internet, those are not going to be it. However, I at least post those, but I don't want you, of course, sharing the wealth. If you're ill, please don't give everybody the same thing, because that's miserable for all of us. Might kill me. I'm old enough that I'm over that, or my wife. I don't want her to die either. I've had friends that had their 70th wedding anniversary. I want to beat that, So 52, that's nothing. Heck, I attended my mom and dad's 50th anniversary. passe on, to the, who knows? How long did Rosalind and Jimmy, what was it, 70-some years? The Rosalind Carter, 72? Something like that. Pretty impressive. And you can live 100 years now. I have a friend who's 100. Turned 100 on December 8th. Retired psychiatrist. So that's pretty interesting. Of course, he has a young French wife, so maybe that helps. I don't know. Oh well. All right, so that's the example of that's test one right there, right? By the way, what is plagiarism? You copied that from someone, didn't you? I made this up years ago. That's pretty much it. Back then it was fun, because I'm convinced everything that I have to tell you guys I got from somebody else. I don't think I have any original ideas. And especially now that we're watching what AI is doing. And AI isn't having original ideas, is it? Yeah, the language model that they're using basically is figuring out which word should come next. This one. Oh, then this one. Then this one. Right? Is that what we do?
In a less complex or in a more complex way, possibly.
That's where we're going with that. We're looking at this. Well, of course, every time we invent something new, like electricity, they invented electricity. William James started zapping his patients in Harvard and discovering that, hey, their personality changes when I do that. So he came to conclude our mental life is electrical. When we had all these computers, we started talking about this is our necktop. We have a computer on our, and we have algorithms, that we're running, and so on. So in a sense, what I'm doing is accumulating a whole bunch of information and then using my algorithm to throw it back out, right? It's kind of interesting. If you go to this website, let's see if it's still there. It is. So this is the Dialectizer. This is just fun. If you go to the Dialectizer, you can either put in a website or you can put in a text, as you can see over here. And then you get the choice of what dialect you want. You can use Redneck, Jive, Cockney, Elmer Fudd, Swedish Chef. You get the idea. And what it'll do is take your text and automatically rewrite it in that weird dialect. So that's fun. And here's my own example. I said, if all my ideas come from someone else and I'm just mixing them up into my ideas, when can I ever write without trying to pin the blame on them, for someone else, etc.? Well, I ran that through Redneck, and I got, but you might ask, effing all my ideas come from, you get the idea. That's fun. So that's one funny thing that you used to be able to do. It's still out there. But this page, this is neat. So this is making use of what's called the Dada engine. And there's a little story about it. The Sokol incident, or whatever. This is a term paper. And it's a term paper that you can't find on the internet. even on this page, because it only shows up once. Notice if I click refresh, the term paper changed. It will change every time you click on it. As far as I know, it's not repeatable. It's non-repeatable. And it's a database with an algorithm. And what happened was Alan Sokol, who was a scientist, he thought that the French postmodernists were just full of nonsense. Nothing that they were doing made sense as far as he was concerned. And so he took a database of postmodern, words and phrases and so on, and he built this algorithm, and he ran the algorithm on the database, and he ended up with an article that he sent to a postmodern magazine. And the postmodern magazine accepted it and printed it. And at the same time that it was printed in the postmodern magazine, he printed his own article in a science magazine where he explained what he had done to the postmodernists. And the scientists that all read that article were absolutely thrilled because they thought, well, that just proves that the postmodernists are, ridiculous. By the way, if you're curious, check, who is he? I can't think of his name. I'm getting old enough that I every once in a while forget what I'm going to say. Noam Chomsky. There we go. I have to remember his name by remembering Nim Chimpsky, which helps me remember. Noam Chomsky. He loves talking about the nonsense that they. But so anyway, the scientists were all thrilled. They thought, man, that's hilarious. Clearly the postmodernists are ridiculous. A machine can just literally barf out a paper the same as they write. And the postmodernists were confused because they said they really liked the article. It was a good article. Well, had some more problems to this. A couple MIT students took the algorithm that he made, the data engine, and they added science terms and phrases. Ran it, printed off a science article, sent it to a science magazine, and the science magazine accepted the article. Well, they had a certain amount of honesty. It was under ethics, right? And they confessed, hey, don't print it. We actually made that up doing this. And they said, well, I'll tell you what. Write an article about that, and then we'll print it with the article. So they did that. So the question, of course, that comes up is exactly what you suggested, sir, and that is, we might be doing basically this same thing, right, when we're writing our papers. And so if you think about it, and I'm not saying that that's the right explanation for this, that what we're doing when we're writing essays is we're taking all the information that we've gathered on the subject and running it through some sort of algorithm that we've honed through our essay writing days, and out comes, our paper. So, I don't know. What is plagiarism? That might be what we're doing, to some extent. But so, what impresses me is language learning. I mentioned I've studied Russian for a year at Monterey. It was intense, deliberately so. The Army took 100 of us in our class and started us off and said, only 50 of you will pass, and the other 50 will do whatever the Army wants. That was pretty stressful. Because of course you didn't want to end up doing anything else that the Army might have wanted other than being a linguist, right? Turned out not to be so bad, because the 50 that didn't pass were recycled and had another chance at graduating. And the 50 who had been recycled from the class before were joined onto our class, so we still remained 100 as we continued on. But every day you basically were immersed in Russian for